Today, Beej and I stole Graham's apple fritter. This is ChillPoint.
Now we have to chew it, and it's dense as hell. You have no idea.
That's why they split it.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't helping. I don't need that caloric intake.
I came in here and I was like, there's this delicious looking apple fritter just sitting here on the table. Whose could this be? And apparently it was Graham's, but
It's always Graham's.
by mistake left it.
Let's be
No,
honest.
the person who leaves pastries around the most is Graham.
Mm-hmm.
Be it a cookie or some kind of apple fritter, almost always Graham. Other people leave different kinds of foods laying around.
The actual volume of pastries that Graham consumes is not necessarily any higher than anybody else, but he buys more, but then just leaves them around. It's like the little the pastry fairy.
Like Heather was reading a Wii manual. No, this is a book we got on mail time from Lord Hosk.
Yeah, it's called Nintendo Magic. It's got the...
It's really good, actually.
Yeah.
What's it about?
It's about the DS and the Wii era and how Nintendo won the video game wars.
Yeah.
At
Forever
that
and ever,
time.
amen.
So, hey everybody, welcome to ChillPoint. And if you missed our live co-stream of the Video Game Awards yesterday, that's probably fine.
I mean, I think if you missed the entire Summer Games Fest thing yesterday, that was totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. TLDR, I hope you like Space Ghosts.
There's so many
Coast to coasts.
Yeah.
space ghosts.
Because apparently horror in space is a thing.
Moon's haunted.
It's the only thing.
You know what? I bet you that's what fucking did it. I bet you those devs were sitting around a table and somebody walked in and like, yo, did you read this tweet? Click, Moon's haunted. We should make a game about that. And they all did. The end.
I'm assuming about 5 years ago, people are like, hey, there's not enough space games, and everyone just jumped on space game development.
I know we kind of jumped into the hot takes already, but I think it's funny because we were having a conversation on Slack about this, and when I was talking with Matt, he's like, this speaks more to I think what the trend is what's going on in the industry, right? Sure. And I had postulated the idea that is it because there isn't enough free IPs lying about? Like you can't make an American football game unless you make it about the NFL, right? You have to have the NFL license and whatnot. So, and he's like, I don't think it's IP so much as I think it's in the horror genre of games. There isn't a clear winner, right? There's lots of room to be making stuff like that. Like there's Resident Evil and Silent Hill, but no. There's not like a Legend of Zelda that kind of like everyone looks at that and they're like, oh, I can't make a Zelda-alike game without everyone accusing me of ripping off Legend of Zelda. But I can make a horror game, and everyone will be like, it's like Dead Space, but it's on the moon. And it's like, that's a good thing when people compare you in that way, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, to be fair, yeah, we did accuse many people of ripping off Dead Space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when you do that in the horror game space, everyone's like, oh, I'm excited for the idea of somebody ripping off another game that's ripping off another game that's ripping off another game. I like that, and yet in like other spaces, if you do that, they're like, oh, you're just ripping off this other game. Why would I want to play this other game?
No, I've been on the internet. There are definitely still people who are mad about anybody doing anything.
I mean, a game being accused of ripping off Zelda Breath of the Wild is not something that I've ever taken as a negative.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I mean, Genshin Impact. I was
Again,
kind of like, oh, come
very
on.
different game.
Yeah,
but also the part of Genshin Impact that's ripping off Breath of the Wild, like that's not the reason why people don't like Genshin Impact.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the reason why people like Genshin Impact.
Because it looks like Breath of the Wild. Yeah.
Anyway, hey everybody, welcome to ChillPoint, where we talk about video game news.
Might be less chill this week.
Normally we also talk about the CheckPoint, but taking June off on the checkpoints. Although we did actually do a thing yesterday with that
Again, that was
that
ChillPoint
co-stream.
approved.
That was ChillPoint Plus.
We let.
Wait, no, that would be bad. Let's not call it ChillPoint
No, let's
Plus.
not do that.
This is the branding for this whole thing is kind of a mess anyway. Let's not add to it.
It was ChillPoint approved. And I'll probably get that VOD up like tomorrow.
We'll start a new gaming focused series called Side Quest, like every other person who starts a gaming focused series on YouTube.
Oh my goodness! Why are you so mad at media existing? Why?
I see a whole bunch of different people being like, "Oh, you can check out my thing. I'm calling Side Quest," and I'm kind of like, I've seen that several times, and we even had that idea to start something called.
I would gladly make a podcast about gaming called Side Quest.
You'd have
right
to.
now.
That's what they're all called, right? So.
Side Quest, new game plus.
It's like when Matt and James were doing Countdown to Infinity. It's like they were the second most popular Marvel rewatch podcast called Countdown to Infinity.
This is what happens. I'm not saying that, I'm shitting on whomever, right? Like, I'm just saying that it's like, this has a tendency to happen that we all, like, how many other people have started up, people have started up other things called CheckPoint too, right? Like,
yeah.
There's a charity named after us.
You know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my own podcast. I'm going to call it CheckPoint 2 with the number 2. I'm going to give it a little plus as well for fun, and nobody can stop me.
It's good.
I will say...
I might get a stern talking to by Graham later if I actually do that, though.
I will say Countdown to Infinity, our podcast... And when I say that it was the second most popular Countdown to Infinity, that's not actually shade, because the most popular Countdown to Infinity podcast was like ridiculously was like really, really popular. So like we were doing pretty good, and there was also like 4 or 5 Countdown to Infinity Marvel rewatch podcasts that were less popular.
Yes, absolutely.
So we were doing good. Anyway.
And Molly says our tabletop show is called AFK. There's no way that's the only one. You're absolutely correct. I'm sure there are others out there.
I don't think AFK is a very good Googleable
No, it
name
really isn't. Oh, well.
for anybody.
Googleable. So, speaking of things that we're talking about, because there's not a good way to segue into this. This is actually marginally positive news out of Activision.
Are we allowed to have positive news from corporations?
I'll take any I can get.
I mean, this is positive news out of Blizzard Activision in the sense that it's news that they consider to be positive, thus they have released a press release about it.
Okay, so they've been willing to tell us. Okay, good.
Which is that they have they've begun negotiations with the
Communication Workers of America?
The Communication Workers of America related to the QA people at Raven Software.
Mm-hmm.
What might not be totally clear from this press release is they are legally mandated to do that.
Yes.
So it's not like a big whoop.
Okay. So this is more like we're not going to tell people we have to. We're going to say we chose to.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I've seen numerous 4-year-olds do that.
Yeah.
I still do it. You can't make me do that. I chose to do that.
Yeah.
I got told I didn't have to grow
Also,
up.
I like that this press release is done in the form of a letter to team from Bobby.
Oh, like it was a leaked letter?
Well, except it's clearly like a press release going out to the Business Wire.
Right. But it was done sent this letter.
Yeah, in the form of this letter. So anyway,
there's some. I mean, you read some of those lines, and it's like you just know a lot of this stuff was like it was all written by PR, and he signed it with gritted teeth because this is a time of great opportunity for our country. I want to thank you for the passion, skill, and commitment you bring each day.
You know how we know it's actually written by PR though, not just the gritting of the teeth. But there's no paragraphs about their pets.
That's true.
That too. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. Man, I watched a mostly unrelated note. Watched Moneyball the other day.
Yeah,
great movie and weird surprise Bobby Kotick cameo.
Really?
Yeah.
I have no idea what this person looks like ever. So yeah.
Yeah, Bobby Kotick plays the head of the company that what is the Brad Pitt works for?
Of the Oakland A's.
Well, he's like the company that owns the Oakland A's. Or whatever.
Ah, okay.
It's weird.
He must have put up some good cash to be in that film.
Anyway,
Maybe he knew someone.
Yeah, it could be.
it's Sonic's 25th anniversary. I guess we have to start every Sonic story by saying that.
It's his
Yeah,
30th anniversary.
30th
Yeah.
anniversary.
Hang on, let me
I've,
find some weird pictures to show while we say that.
I've heard that some fans would really like them to maybe delay the new Sonic game.
Yeah. So this is apparently we're in topsy-turvy bizarre land because fans are like, please don't release. Fans of Sonic are like, please take longer to release this game.
Yeah.
So a preview came out of the Sonic Frontiers, which is the new Sonic game that's coming out, not to be confused with the various remakes of Sonic games that are coming out. And people are like, what? Because it's like this like open world style thing. Like the preview trailer felt weird. Like it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I haven't watched it, but I know that like I think IGN got like the first previews of stuff that they got to put out, so they got to be like the first, and I kind of felt bad for them because I was like, oh, you got to do an exciting thing that people would like.
Yeah, it was this kind of
maybe not be.
It was this weird like open world thing, but like it was empty. Like there didn't seem to be like a lot of people, like a lot of open worldy stuff going on. It was just like
ramps just kind of floating around.
Yeah, and it didn't seem like there was a lot of actual, going fast, and there was anyway. Yeah. People were like, this doesn't seem very Sonic-y. Mm-hmm. And so some, the Sonic people have kind of gone into a bit of damage control mode on this. For one thing, apparently that thing that's shown off by IGN was an earlier test build.
Ah.
Yeah.
Which is one of those things where it's like, either that's not true and you guys are trying to cover your asses.
Right.
Or that is true, and why the hell did you release an early test build that didn't show the game very well as the first thing that people see?
Well, and that's the thing. So most of the time when you see a trailer, especially a trailer very early on or other stuff, you are seeing parts of the game that maybe haven't been polished yet or implemented yet. And you're not seeing, when a trailer or something releases, you're generally not seeing what the actual current build is of that day. You're seeing something from a couple months back because they had to make stuff happen to make a trailer happen and have it all come out when they wanted to come out. So you generally want to try and see trailers that are maybe closer to release, or just wait for the thing to actually release first and see what the gameplay looks like. At the same time, though, releasing that stuff is a marketing tactic, and marketing is about presenting yourself in the best light possible. And if that's the best light you could present yourself in now...
Like usually the problem is the other way around, right? Is that like the trailer looks... Too good, or the trailer is like not actually, things that will happen in the game.
A little tiny print that says the camera angles have been modified for this showing.
That's my
new favorite one.
I do like this explanation. So this is Mitchell Saltzman, the IGN editorial producer, has tried to elaborate further about what isn't being, what people are sort of missing from this gameplay, or didn't pick up on, and saying that there's like sort of apparently the flow. He says the flow of the game is basically you explore this open world thing, you solve puzzles to open up the map, you find collectibles to improve your stats, fight world bosses to earn portal gears, use portal gears to unlock linear Sonic levels. So there's going to be like linear, like
classic.
2D style Sonic levels. You complete linear Sonic levels to unlock Chaos Emeralds.
That's a complicated process, but
So-
it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, in comparison to what I would call the traditional Sonic thing, which is you go from left to right,
Yeah.
it's a little more complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, I can see how this could work.
I mean, I haven't seen the footage, so it's unfair for me to be like, to say whether or not I agree with that assessment. But I do believe in a world where every time a trailer, because I do this with Zelda, a trailer comes out, I follow a bunch of people who do Zelda breakdowns, and they tear apart a 3-second piece of thing from top to bottom with theories forever, and I just kind of feel like, oh, everyone just missed out on how this worked. Maybe is still a problem with the thing you showed.
I always like to think about, you know, they're back in the Cold War. There's a field of study called Kremlinology.
Yes. Well, it still exists.
Right. I guess it probably does. Yeah.
It sure does.
Which was the idea of like really trying to figure out what was going on in Russia based on the very small amounts of information that were leaking in various places.
Yeah.
And so knowing, you know, trying to deduce the psychology of what was happening and all the stuff inside the Kremlin. And there is a bit of that happens a lot of the time with video game news, right? Where it's like, this UI element has this thing there. That's interesting because that probably means this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
Which means that it's going to be microtransactions and terrible.
Yeah.
It's like, that didn't actually follow from that.
I have questions.
But-
So you said
Kremlinology.
Kremlinology, like with a C?
No, with a K.
With a
as
K.
as in the Kremlin, as in Russia.
Huh, okay. My brain really wanted it to be Gremlin.
Gremlinology?
Yeah, and I was
I mean,
more excited.
Completely different field of study.
Yeah, completely different field of study.
How do I become a professor of Gremlinology? What school do I apply to? That's quick, because I don't really have time for
I mean, Hogwarts, maybe? I don't know.
Stands to
no,
reason.
that's too
No,
problematic of a school for me to join.
That'd be more
House elves.
goblin.
Can I go to the Owl House?
Gremlin?
Yeah.
I'm sure Owl Lady would give me a doctorate.
So a larger point of this, though, too, is it's like this is yet another Sonic game that doesn't follow the traditional Sonic flow, right? It's like it has that linear thing integrated into it, obviously, but this is not the kind of like, you know, hey, utilize blast processing to do loop-de-loops and collect rings, and it's like, sure. Is there any game genre? Because I think that sucks also because that's on Beach. But is there any real game on the planet other than Endless Runner that Sonic's like whole milieu actually fits into? Like Sonic Kart Racing, is that like
Other than
well, it's because the whole episode thing is I gotta go fast and I gotta go fast unimpeded so I can keep going fast.
I'm pretty sure there is a Sonic Kart Racer.
Yeah.
Yes. Which to me just doesn't make sense why Sonic is in the car, other than rules won't let him run.
This is a well-established, yeah.
There is BioWare made a Sonic adventure game.
But is that a better fit for Sonic? Because if Sonic is all about Sonic goes fast,
I feel like you're really making him a 2D character.
I
Like-
think that Sega
And they're
made him a
trying to
2D
make him a
character.
2D character.
Like, well, there's this that like Sonic over the years, never quite like they keep trying to push it into, 3D, like sort of the equivalent of, Mario, Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
Mario successfully made that transition into 3D. I mean, there's still the 2D Mario games, but
But he is also
2.5D
They've
Mario
also made
games.
very successful Mario 3D games.
Right.
So it fits
and
somehow.
And Sonic has never really Sonic, has done the 2Ds, and then there's the Sonic, and every iteration of Sonic 3D, a 3D version of Sonic, free roaming 3D, has always been kind of disappointing. And so they'll do like 2 3D ones, and they'll be like, okay, let's do a throwback one.
Yeah.
Because that's what people want.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
And then
isn't
they'll
this-
try it again, and then like, nope, let's go back to the
Isn't this
throwback.
meant to be more like an open world thing? Because I don't think Sonic's really done an open world.
Well, that's what this one is going to be open world. I mean, they have done. I don't know if they've done open world. They've done hub world stuff.
They've done like a hub world thing where you run around to find levels and stuff. But I don't think they've done what would be the current trend of open world everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I can see why, if you're Sega or Sonic Team or whoever, right? You're like, we've got to figure out some way to move Sonic into a different, to be able to, do new things with Sonic.
Yeah, because if we don't try new things, then we don't never do anything.
And so maybe this is a good way. Maybe this one, for one thing, it's got, they haven't tried open world before. This will be open world.
No, it won't, apparently.
Maybe not.
No,
the director says it decidedly is not.
Oh, okay then.
Okay, even though they're saying
But-
it is basically an open world.
But this does have the 2D Sonic stuff in it as well.
Right.
So maybe that will kind of soften the blow for people, and they can kind of ease people into it.
Well, part of I think what makes a game like that interesting, let's take New Donk City from Mario Odyssey, that you play a lot of wandering around this smaller, very constrained map, obviously, right? They're all very constrained kingdom maps. But you wander around the maps and you get your 3D things, you get to explore up and go up skyscrapers and do whatever. And then when you get to that stage where you have the little side-scrolly thing that's in the middle of it, I'm like, that was great fun. That was and every time you discovered those in Odyssey, where it was like, hey, you're gonna go through a weird little
a pipe and it basically
Right.
goes to an old style.
Yeah.
Mario
But you're
world.
moving along the wall of
Yeah.
the thing,
Yeah.
right?
And that was a lot of fun. That was a very interesting way to adapt that classic Mario gameplay, and it felt like a surprise and a delight every time.
Right.
And maybe that's what goes on here, is that they're like, do the wander around thing, solve puzzles, open up your map, make it bigger and all that, but then, get your portal gears, go through a portal, get into a linear Sonic level. Maybe it's not as long as the other ones, but it's like, you'll do these little linear levels to help progress the game. I
think you're overly obsessive with Sonic's one trait about being fast, when he had a perfectly good cartoon on Saturday mornings about freedom fighting. No, not that one. That one's bad. About freedom fighting and the environment and hanging out with Princess Sally. So,
to be fair, going fast was also a big part of that, though.
but it wasn't the only thing.
No.
Heather is pointedly ignoring the other one.
I don't like the fart joke one.
She knows there is many a Sonic animated experience.
Also, Sonic Underground was great, and I don't care what anyone thinks.
Interestingly, we're talking about Sonic made the transition to TV show much more successfully.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not only is there very happy, successful Sonic TV shows, but there's multiple Sonic TV shows which are quite well regarded generally. I mean, some of them more than others, obviously, but they've generally been pretty good. Anyway. Speaking of retro games,
Oh no! Oh no!
in television,
Oh no!
the Amico,
It's not happening anymore, right?
Well,
They've given up finally,
no.
right?
Nope, not
Okay.
Not so they're still chugging along on this thing.
How many of them are still chugging along on this thing?
Well, is the question, because apparently they've had to cut their staff quite severely. We know from their from the documents that they released when they were trying to get funding, and I don't think they did, that they were going to run out of money this summer.
Right. Right. So they probably went through the process of trying to get more funding.
We have dramatically reined in operating costs, so people obviously have been, people who pre-ordered this thing are obviously a little concerned about the whole process. People have been asking for refunds. Interestingly enough, the portion of the staff that have been laid off were also the portion that were processing the refunds. So
what a weird coincidence!
Interesting idea.
So they are still working.
No, that makes perfect sense. It means you don't have money going out to wages or money going back to customers because there's nobody to process it.
Yeah, they say, rest assured, it is our intention to honor all refund requests. We will allocate a portion of all new funding and staff time to winding down the refund queue, while our primary focus is funding and completing a quality product ready for manufacturing. which
Ooh.
is interesting because they theoretically some of their funding is based on the fact that, or what their latest round of funding was based on a demo of the product having already been manufactured. They had like a prototype version or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess it's not ready for manufacture yet, though.
Yeah, I think because someone was asking if anyone knows if they're legally required to pay out refunds. I believe that depends upon the country.
And I'm pretty
like
sure
country laws.
I'm pretty sure our intention is to honor all refund requests is quite legally different from we will honor all refund requests.
We guarantee you will get a refund. No one is saying that.
Yeah, because like the whole my understanding of refunds in the first place was that got invented as a way to get customers to come into stores and buy things without fear of having the object like nobody
Buyer's remorse.
nobody in the government said, at least not where we were, that you have to give refunds. Stores started doing that as a way to get people to buy more stuff because it was more likely that people would buy stuff and then forget to bring it back ever.
Except these aren't refunds these aren't refunds as in returns. These
No,
are
these are
refunds as in we
pre-orders.
pre-ordered it. So like pay for the thing and never got the thing is different than I got the thing and it sucks. I want to return it. Theoretically there's some fraud or something.
There are also like if in television the new this in television decides to declare bankruptcy, by virtue of how you pay back your creditors, is that
Right.
the initial investors in the company are the ones that get paid back first.
Yeah.
So if they had any investment funds from anywhere else, then the money that has flown into the company from you at the bottom, which is the end
presumably
consumer,
consumers are at the bottom of that
so
list.
any of that money will go out to investors
pre-ordering
first.
wouldn't be
Yeah.
a thing where you would get your money back. Now you want to be able to give people their money back if they're asking for their money back on a pre-order because of you don't want to burn your customers. But
I should also say that nobody's going bankrupt yet.
not yet.
That has not been announced. I'm just saying that is how that would work.
Yes.
We're waiting for
They
it.
haven't been, they haven't been shy about the fact that they have no money, though.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, the final level of Battletoads.
yeah.
Yeah, tell me about this.
Another thing that you could spend money on that might be better than in television, more likely to actually get a product, I guess. That's a transition we could do. There's the company called the Pixel Frames is producing these super neat looking light boxes of iconic frames from video games. So here's Battletoads, here's Mega Man. They have
Streets of Rage, River City Ransom. I saw those there.
I like it's actually like splitting it out like as the layers in the Super Nintendo would have
Providing a lot of parallax.
Yeah. Streets of Rage. I think they've got they've got the this is the like perfect block of Chun-Li's
That's good.
Chun-Li's
super,
super that was like a very famous bit from a fighting game tournament.
Yeah, as they pointed out, it was Daigo's parry.
Yeah.
Is what it was. Blocked every shot, and I think went on to win.
I see stuff like this quite often on Reddit forums. People show
my
like
God.
little cubes where they do 3D
Yeah.
stuff like this. And they always
Wong.
look really neat.
So of course, because they did that, Justin Wong has tweeted about it and been like, "Hey, isn't this great? The Pixel Frames got the official license to do Third Strike and then picked this frame. So that's great that you're immortalizing this terrible thing that happened to me at this tournament."
Okay.
I think Justin's gotten an awful lot of mileage out of this too, which I'm sure that he's got a great sense of humor about it. Yeah.
Just it's one of the like if you're on the other side of that, you still have to be like that was straight up impressive,
right?
Do you Do you want to actually give me any context, or should I just laugh? And
Do you want to
pretend I know
watch?
what's
Can we
going
click
on?
on Evo Moment 37 and Heather can just see what
I don't
happened?
want to watch it.
No, you should probably
So-
watch it.
No.
The deal was there was a in Evo big fighting game tournament. Guy was really low on health, and he does Chun-Li's multi kick thing where she goes like.
But it's a
It's one of the easier
It's
ones
it's
to
a
do, yeah.
well, it's a super move that you can do for it, and there was a thing in that version of Street Fighter called a perfect block where you have to do the block sequence exactly like the right time, and a guy did that for every single one of the hits,
Ooh.
which made it so you didn't even take like chip damage on it.
Okay.
And so people just like went totally crazy, and it was like a really
It's amazing to watch because because you can hear the crowd pops and then the roar just continues and get louder and louder and louder as Daigo just keeps blocking over
I've
and
seen-
over, and
I've
then
seen-
immediately steps in and finishes Justin Wong off.
I'm sure it is an amazing thing to watch. But I found that any tournament stuff that I watch, regardless of how amazing it's supposed to be, I do not care about seeing.
It's definitely but it's sort of an iconic moment. But it's neat that they got like the license, for Street Fighter Third Strike, Streets of Rage, Battletoads and stuff. But it's like you've got the license to that game, then you have to choose like what Battletoads.
What's the frame?
Like Battletoads, they do the
Turbo Tunnel.
the turbo tunnel that everyone hates.
It is the worst level in the game.
With-
I mean, there are a lot of the worst levels, but yeah.
with one of the guys, about to
Probably eat it.
eat it into this wall, right? So anyway, I'd love to we've got here in the office. You've probably seen them in some behind the scenes stuff. We've got these cool exploded things of consoles that are just sort of nice art to have, and I could totally see if we had empty walls, which we don't, but I could totally see something like this being a cool thing to just like have on the wall.
Yeah, it's why I really like the acrylic cubes I've seen on Reddit, because they're generally like this big, and they're very good for like a little shelf space thing.
I think it would have been really funny if they had
Excellent
actually
behind the streamer,
Like-
clutter.
The Streets of Rage one means nothing to me when I see it. But it's certainly, I'm like, why not pick the most infamous parts of a game and do still frames of that? Because I think that would get people's attention even more. Like picking the Turbo Tunnel for Battletoads was like, we have Battletoads, what could we use? It's like, use the most iconic, hated thing in the game, and that'll be great. Like they use the lanternfish for Mega Man 2. I'm like, surely there are more irritating things about Mega Man 2 than the lanternfish. And it would have been really funny if that's what they opted to do, was to use like the thing that gets people's goat the most, because then it's like I think it kind of like would attract more interest.
I would have chosen the like dragon fight
Yeah.
where you have to jump from platform to platform while you're fighting the dragon thing at the end of Mega Man. Anyway. This is something that I just thought was cool. We talk about the summer games. There's the Summer Game Festival and various other press conferences that are going on this week and next week and stuff. That there's a lot of stuff that's just, this game is coming out. It's not like necessarily news we can work with for CheckPoint. But sometimes games come out that seem kind of like a neat concept or kind of an unusual concept that at least catch my eye.
We talk about it on ChillPoint, because we're allowed to talk about nice things on ChillPoint.
Yeah, like this one, which is a game that looks basically like Stardew Valley, but instead of farming, you're like beekeeping.
I'm surprised beekeeping wasn't a part of Stardew Valley, now that I think about
You
it.
can make hives, and there's like specific things you do with flowers to get specific honey made, but it's not like in-depth beekeeping. You don't get like a beekeeper outfit.
So we go from a Miko to a Pico. This is good.
So you go around and you can like breed different. You can make different types of bees by like breeding, moving hives around and breeding them and stuff. New discovery. It's a bee. Still a bee. You just developed. You just made a wasp. Kill it.
I
a
bet
hornet.
I bet you a lot of this too is going to be. It's going to be like in Animal Crossing, where now all of a sudden I know the names about like 100 fish and like a whole bunch of different bugs, like things that I never would have known before.
All the varieties of bee now.
And everyone's going to learn a whole bunch of different things about bees. Which, in a way, if you make an educational style game, then you put it behind a very fun experience. People will learn so much about whatever subject you want them to learn.
Also, it's going to have a limited edition.
That's very good. They've gone for a very
plush bee,
very simplistic design.
It's a pixel game, so this is what a pixel bee looks like in plush,
absolutely.
which is awesome.
That's great design too, because it's like it really captures in that tiny little bit. Like this is what if you had to reduce a bee to something to like if you show this to somebody like what do you think this is, and you show them the 3/4 shot, they'd be like, is it a bee? And you probably would guess that.
It's like when in an old episode of Commodore Hustle, I guess, the one where we had like a package with bees.
I think it was called like the bee team or something.
Yeah. And which we made those bees by just a red or a yellow and a black pipe cleaner that we spun together.
Right.
And then chopped into little bits, and so it was just like red and just like some yellow and black.
Some weird dead
striped
bee bodies.
Good
around.
shorthand.
Yeah. So yeah, I like. There's I don't know. It's amazing how the human brain works. That you'd be like, that is a weird zoom in.
It's very pixelated.
But it's weird the way the human brain works. That it's like, oh, that's such a cute bee. And it's like,
well, yeah, because you've taken away all the parts that make the bee scary. The stinger, for one.
Yeah, they've added.
But it's like there's no. It's like so few features to
the
it.
Bug eyes.
But you know that it's like yes, these 3 plush cubes in a row are cute somehow.
Yeah.
There's various ways to make things cute. One is to make them smaller, and the other one is to take away all the scary features.
Yeah.
Or to put wings on them.
Apparently.
Wings are not necessarily a cute thing
That's
on their
fair.
own. They're an addition to cute.
And oh hey, something else that will possibly have pixelated bees.
I'm pretty sure Minecraft already has pixel bees.
There's rumors that there's going to be a new Minecraft adjacent thing. So you know, there's Minecraft Dungeons, which is a completely different game. Like it's not.
It's a dungeon crawler.
It's like a.
But it's not even played in Minecraft.
It's not like a Minecraft mod.
actual
It's
game.
just a separate game that's pixelated and looks like Minecraft.
Yeah. Okay.
That is apparently quite good. Like it's quite fun. They played it a bit on.
Yeah, they played it I think twice on 9 o'clock.
But apparently there's rumors that they are working on a Minecraft real-time strategy game.
So like StarCraft or Warcraft, but Minecraft. Shit, that didn't work.
So, which is interesting because you're like, it's interesting because it's actually not that big a, like some of the things that the guys are doing on 9 o'clock.
Very close to that kind
It's
of
like
idea.
you know, building a base, building systems that you know do stuff for you and stuff. It's not that far off
making
from
automated.
a real-time.
Yeah, it's
real-time
basically
strategy
just like,
thing.
oh, people do this. Let's make a game about it.
But this is sort of a slight zoom out though, right?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like you're ordering your unit and you have like piglins or whatever they're called attack, you know, that you have to defend your base from and all sorts of stuff like that.
Right.
You're taking on piglins, and this is just so this was in a this was Jeff Gerstmann, formerly of Giant Bomb, was talking about this, saying that he
He knew the game was in testing.
saying The difference is you're controlling a Steve-esque unit on the field and ordering your units around in a third-person view, taking on piglins.
Wild.
And it'll have story and cutscenes and all that kind of stuff.
So not a top-down RTS, but like a third-person view RTS, or maybe even first-person.
Or even like there's been a few like first and third person RTS kind of games.
Yeah.
So Pikmin it could be like something like that, you know.
I could see that. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure there's like Pikmin-esque mods for Minecraft.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by that.
There's a full Ben's played like the whole like Pokemon that's actually like incredibly deep Pokemon mod for Minecraft. Well, the concept of like other games in Minecraft is very well established. So, anyway.
Yeah, and if you don't have games in Minecraft, you have other games taking Minecraft, like Dragon Quest Builders and the like.
And of course, again, what I just love about whenever we get news from Nintendo Life, they have to add the paragraph at the bottom. Currently, we don't know who's working on this potential spin-off or if it's coming to Switch, but given the popularity of the system, it's hard to think it won't eventually.
Mm-hmm,
Ha!
Yeah.
There! We tied it into Switch stuff.
I mean, also it's a rumor thing, and I like Nintendo Life, but there's definitely sometimes a section of their stuff that definitely feels like we didn't make our article quota, so here's an article about some person's tweet, and so we think a thing is happening.
Mm.
They're not the only ones. It's a problem with the whole thing.
Battlefield 2042 is a game that has been out for a while now, maybe 6 months or so.
Okay.
I don't actually know when it came out, but a while ago.
Well, it definitely didn't come out in 2042.
I'm basing how long it came out again by when I remember articles complaining about it starting.
Now I have to ask, the way this article is written, it makes it sound like Battlefield 2042 got released not at its 1.0 state.
See, this is the interesting aspect. Yeah.
Good, because I don't quite understand this.
Because congratulations to Battlefield 2042 on hitting 1.0.
That's literally what this means.
Usually when you state that
Which
you got launched.
you maybe should have done that before you launched,
Yeah.
but better late than never. Because they're pushing out or they pushed out a big update. I think it was on the 7th or 8th when it actually came out. Battlefield 2042 has hit, because Battlefield 2042 was the one that there was definitely some complaints about it, and it also launched with things missing things that people were like,
so
wait, what?
There's you said Battlefield 2040.
2042, sorry.
Okay. I was gonna say, wait, did they skip 2041 and that 2042 is actually supposed to be 2040-2?
No, I think
Fantasy.
Yeah.
I think the previous Battlefield was Battlefield 1942. I think
you're right.
They skipped 100 years.
Mm-hmm,
Oh, I mean, sure.
So anyway, and also they're gonna be starting season 1 again. You would think that would have started when the game came out, but no. Because when the game came out, it didn't have stuff like voice chat for multiplayer. Mm-hmm. So they were working on things.
I mean, all I hear when I hear season 1 is battle passes. This will be like a week long before season 2 comes out, but maybe I'm just biased because Fortnite just happens all the time.
So, and there's a whole lot of updates.
I mean, I would hope so.
That is part of this 1.0 update. They have a full patch notes here.
Anything fun?
Like
actually fun? Like
a wingsuit.
CheckPoint fun? Is
there
that
was
like a fun way of saying jetpack?
Yes.
Okay.
Except it doesn't work going up; it only works going down.
That's more like a glider.
Yeah. Okay, so it's more like a personal glider then. So it's
not flying, more falling with style.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you call it a wingsuit if you don't even get to fly?
You do get to fly, kinda. Like,
what do you mean, kinda?
If you catch a thermal, you'd probably come up again. Hang gliders stay in the air for a while.
Did someone give you actual wings? Or it's just like a Captain Falcon situation?
It's a wing suit. You have a suit that has wings. It's not like you're not like Sephiroth.
No, I'm asking if it's like Captain Falcon.
No.
Like that you can punch somebody.
I mean, I can punch someone without wings.
Third base.
So yeah, I mean, there's lots of random updates. There was one. What was the?
Ooh, gadgets. Pathing for throwing grenades has been improved.
Well, that's good.
I love the idea.
I feel like that's definitely something.
It's pseudo-random, you would throw a grenade, but it would kind of go off in a direction and kind of make like a squiggle pattern.
My favorite one, just because I can imagine the silly gameplay videos that probably resulted from this.
Mm-hmm.
Resolved instances where users could become stuck in an infinite sliding animation after exiting a moving quad bike. I'm just imagining, like, playing a game, a Battlefield, and you just walk around and there's just this guy who's just like, slide past you. That I find highly amusing. But anyway, obviously, bugs and stuff happen all the time in these kind of multiplayer games. And there's also there's a lot of like balance fixes.
But
and
that's why I asked if there was anything actually fun in the patch notes.
There probably is.
Because a lot of patch notes are like, oh, we added in thing, we added in this, we fixed that. And it's not like those aren't important if it's a game you're playing, but they're not funny.
So the rifling of the barrel is now counterclockwise like it should have been. And also, here's some classified documents about our tanks.
I was going to say, it also, as far as I can tell, it doesn't devolve into like an anti-vax tirade halfway through, which is good anyway. Yeah. Like you're already
again.
Yeah.
Ahead of the
game. Ahead of the game.
If you're gonna put that in your patch notes,
put it up front.
That shouldn't go in the middle of like all the actual things. That should go in its own separate section.
Yeah, the one at the top. Put it in your game description.
Yeah, also put it at the top so I know not to bother reading the rest of it.
Speaking of things that should be mentioned at the top.
Great ways to lose money.
Lose money? Sure. So there's a really interesting story on Ars Technica about so there's been a revealed
scam or
a video game collecting forging
ring.
I don't know if it's even a ring or whether it's just one person. It's a scandal anyway. Yeah. That somebody very well respected in the video game, the classic video game collecting community, apparently was charitably. The best case scenario is they were passing along forgeries
of games
that they should have known were forgeries.
So let's define what is going on, because when you say it's video game collecting, it's people who collect the physical copies of video games.
Yeah, so people who collect physical copies of uncommon video games.
And that would include the boxes and all the stuff that's in them.
And PC game collecting specifically.
Okay.
From
And so people are finding, so basically, and people get the game, get these, a game that's very hard to come by. And this is PC game collecting.
Yes.
So the game itself might actually be relatively readily available on the internet,
Steam or whatever,
or abandonware or whatever. Yeah. But the actual retail package, the artifact of it. But then people will get this game, but then you notice that stuff like the manual is looks like it's been printed on realize that the manual has been printed on like a modern printer, not like an offset press,
right,
as it would have originally.
Absolutely.
Or that there's like the parts in the manual that are supposed to be white have like a very slight dot pattern to them,
right,
because they came from a scan of the original manual.
Yeah.
And also the actual disc itself somebody actually like puts the disc into their computer and realizes that the copy that's on the disc is the copy that is readily available on the internet, which was like a hacked version.
And then what's funny about that too then is it's like the disc that they're getting, because if you flip over a burn CD,
right,
you can tell immediately it's a burn because of the color that's on the bottom of it, right? So if you send somebody like a pressed CD, they're silver on the bottom. We don't really, that's not really a thing you can. So these aren't burns; these are literally pressed versions of discs.
They're fancy.
Yeah.
But,
so it says here that his name is Ricciardi. I think. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that with the two C's.
Ricciardi.
Ricciardi?
Yeah.
Said he told ours that he was also a victim who just simply unknowingly passed along suspect collectibles without checking them thoroughly enough.
I mean, that's the thing you would say, right?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
That's like,
people in the other people in the community are like, this causes damage to like having fake copies sent around, and he should know that.
And it's like best case scenario, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of reasons to believe.
Unlikely.
For one thing, a lot of these forgeries appear to have been forged in the same way.
Yeah.
So if this guy had just like collected a bunch of games from all sorts of places and some of them happened to be forgeries, presumably those forgeries would have been done by different people.
Yeah.
As opposed to all these which have been forged in a similar manner.
And for them all to come through one person, like the charitable thing you can say is that maybe they bought a lot. Like they went to eBay and they bought somebody's collection themselves that all came in a big box, and they're like, great, because I need some things for my collection, and here's stuff that I don't need, so I'll just take these things out and I'll pass them along and push them into the market.
It does seem weird though if that's like a really niche collecting thing that you're really into, that you don't check this stuff over to a high degree.
Mm-hmm.
But well, I also don't know. Like,
and of course, also, if we're talking stuff that's like sealed, right? Then the person might not want to actually open it to check whether it's.
That's true.
So you can kind of get away with that. There's what I found really interesting about this is. Or what kind of neat about this? Let me, if I can get the name of it. A little while ago, there was a really neat documentary. I think it was on Netflix or something. I don't know if it's still available there, but called Sour Grapes.
Yes.
There was a really neat documentary about a guy who was forging wine.
Yeah.
But in a very sophisticated way, and he was a guy who was very well respected in the wine collecting community. And he was, and ended up that it was like, one bottle of wine was found to be a forgery, and then they pulled on that thread and it just unraveled this whole thing that it's like tons and tons, and he was had a whole system of like bleaching labels and reprinting them and doing things, and this guy was knowledgeable enough that he was actually like basically mixing and creating his own wines that matched the flavor profile of the wine that he was forging. That's and really all this stuff
in depth, because it would seem like, especially wine collecting, most people don't open the bottle of wine, so it seems like you could get away with not.
Or when they do, it's like, well, I'm going to wait like another 5 years and have it then. By that point, you've kind of gone on.
I mean, that's not something that if you're really well known in the community, you want to be doing, because eventually that's going to catch up to you. Yeah. That's something that like I suppose like a low level scammer who's like, oh yeah, no, absolutely, and then like runs away.
And I mean, like depending on how old the game is too, because the sophistication of what you can do on a personal level, getting back to the game thing, what you can do on a personal level. Is definitely like what they used to do in the 1980s and stuff, right? Like you used to be able to get like they'd be like, well, I had to run off a whole bunch of manuals for this game. Well, how did you make them? Well, they're half folded, black and white, saddle stitched. That was printed on like a Heisenberg that I had to pay somebody to print, but it's not offset print.
But like the official commercial release of a game could have been just like in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, right. Like,
at the local computer store.
yeah, or even if it was shrink wrapped, it's like, well, you can get a shrink wrapping machine that can shrink wrap just as well as what they would have been shrink wrapping back in the old days. Not as like nice and neat and whatever as we have these days. Yeah.
So anyway, interesting stuff about, especially since, I mean, there have been some like super high profile stuff, especially in the console game world, with specific cartridges going for ridiculously high prices. And it's interesting, where it's like, and obviously we deal with or hear stuff about like Magic the Gathering and things a lot, and it's this interesting idea where as sort of niche sort of hobbies get more and more prominence, that there's an opportunity there for unsavory people to use to counterfeit stuff that whereas like you can't counterfeit like cash, or like there's all sorts of things that are sort of known to be counterfeitable, and so everyone stays away from it.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's like nobody's gonna. But it's a lot easier to counterfeit like a Magic card than to counterfeit cash.
Yeah.
And in the right circumstances, they can be basically interchangeable.
Yeah, it's true.
And so the community has had to increase its sophistication to match the abilities of the counterfeiters and stuff. So anyway, this is an article on Ars Technica if you're interested in there.
It did get posted in chat a little while ago. So.
Oh, great, yeah. Other Minecraft news.
Yeah, the wild news.
The wild update.
I saw James got very excited because he encountered a frog.
Bam.
Well, I thought he also encountered the warden.
So yeah, they're adding. So I feel like we may have mentioned this before, but this is this is apparently something that was sort of teased when they were talking about the caves and cliffs stuff, which is like the new
The last
biome
thing that
stuff.
kind of went out.
That they're the wild update. So they're adding there's like some new biomes with like mud and stuff. But most importantly, they added frogs.
Well, I mean, you got mud. You can
And
get
there's
frogs.
multiple different types of frogs even.
Well, I would hope so.
There's different frog friends. And of course there's also tadpoles.
Yeah, well, that makes sense, yeah. But the warden is something you've mentioned, and why is that important?
So
It's
apparently
scary.
yeah, there's the deep dark, which is
It's underground.
it's underground. It sounds actually pretty awesome. Especially like I love the idea that like in some future like Punch a Chunk thing, somebody might just randomly walk into this because it's
right.
like it's a new biome that's underground, and it's super creepy. And normally in Minecraft, of course, mobs spawn anywhere where it's dark.
Right.
Random mobs just spawn all over the place.
Sure, yeah, okay.
In this one, they don't. It's dark and scary, and nothing spawns except this one mob called the Warden.
Okay.
So basically, like, in this tiny little area, the game turns into like a horror game.
Yeah.
But like the rest of the world is still just Minecraft.
Right, and does all the same normal, like creeper can show up in a dark space somewhere else. But...
So yeah, think about it. James streams a lot,
Yeah.
and the one thing he likes to do is dig very deep holes.
Yes, yes.
And now he can go to the creepy
You
zone.
can literally dig too greedily and too deep,
That's good, I like this.
and you enter the deep dark.
That should be like if that's a thing you can do just by digging. I would love to see a Punch a Chunk where the race is who can find the deep dark first.
The bottom, it is buried. It is most often at the bottom of mountainous regions. The area is filled with skulk blocks, ancient structures, loot chests, and one single solitary mob. You have to sneak, which I didn't even know you could sneak in Minecraft.
Cool.
So cool things in Minecraft that I always enjoy.
Remember Remember when we played 1-2 Switch?
Right.
When the Switch came out, that was the only time we ever played it.
No, that's not true. We played it once at a Christmas party that was not streamed, and it was fun.
That's true.
We have had fun playing the game. It's just not been
It's like a perfectly fine game.
It really is.
That-
We still own a copy.
That absolutely should have been included with the Switch.
Yes. And that comes back to that idea of
The Wii Sports thing.
yeah, Nintendo being like, we value our games, so therefore we want them to only be we want people to have to pay for them because we value them and they should value our work. And I'm like, yes, that is a very important idea. But sometimes
So
part of the development of a piece of hardware also involves developing a piece of software to help you illustrate what's going on with the piece of hardware.
Yeah, and that game works well as a tech demo in some ways because it has the 3D like you move
HD
around.
rumble,
the HD rumble to show that like different weight.
Right.
happens in
Yeah, I
your
remember
hand
that.
and,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So that's why people expect those kinds of games to be.
And there are 28 games in here, and I feel like you could have taken 10 of them and made them a 1-2 Switch pack-in starter pack, and then let people buy DLC.
I still
on
don't
top
think
of it.
anyone would have bought DLC. Okay,
Might have.
but the rumor was, especially for the last few weeks, that there was a sequel to this game that was being produced. 1-2 Switch did well enough during launch that they potentially just green-lighted make a sequel. And apparently everybody who's playtested this game hates it.
They have called it boring.
It's called Everybody's 1-2 Switch.
Now, we played 1-2 Switch,
Supposedly.
and we were like, hey, this is fun. I'm milking a cow. I'm catching a samurai blade. I'm, doing
Yeah,
whatever.
It's kind of fun.
It was
It's
a goofy way to waste some time, and we had a good time. If people are playing what the follow-up to this was and are calling it boring in testing, then I have to assume that there's nothing salvageable about
The
it.
story I read about this was that they looked at kind of more of a Jackbox style of a thing. So there were
Where there's, like,
ideas
lots
that
of players.
there's lots of players, online, potentially even using your cell phone. I mean, this is all, who knows. But the way what makes the story interesting is supposedly it's done. It went through quality testing. People didn't like it.
They made the artwork.
They made the artwork and they printed the cases for the game because somebody was like, well, they're going to just reconfigure it until it works, so we'll go ahead and I'll do my job and make the cases. So supposedly there's a bunch of boxes waiting for a printed version of this to go into.
So it's like, not only is the game, is it like not great, but it's so bad that they feel that it would like tarnish the reputation of the Switch and of Nintendo to release it.
So they don't know what to do with it because they'd like to release it potentially to make money off of it or something, or maybe put it somewhere that people could play it. And that's the thing, video games get shelved all the time in early development, in pitch meetings, even all the way till it's done, but generally you don't hear about it. I also think even when a game's almost done and like ready to go to press or whatever, and it gets canned, they generally don't have physical stuff made up for it.
Yeah. The sunk cost on this is pretty nasty. So, I mean, fair play to Nintendo.
Oh, right. The host who's supposed to like be there is supposed to be a horse, a guy like in a horse mask, and he's just called the horse because I guess it's really close to sounding like the host in English.
The words are almost the same.
And so. Yeah.
Okay, I'm starting to visualize why this maybe didn't work so
Yeah.
well.
Apparently, people I've seen who've read the article are like, the horse part sounds like the best part of the game.
The breakdown of
The horse with the morse.
the breakdown of what I'm seeing as it's going by is that the playtesting groups, families with children, didn't want to finish even rounds of certain games. They were just like, we're done. We don't want to do any more of that. There was even a game that resembled a virtual version of Spin the Bottle. Oh no, that involved saying something nice about another person. It tested horribly.
Yeah, I'm not sure anyone's really I can get the idea of like, oh, well, let's play a Spin the Bottle game, I don't think anyone wants to play a spin the bottle game where they feel like they're in the middle of some sort of school assembly where they've taken all the kids around and been like, okay, everybody, we noticed you've all been mad at each other, so we're gonna make you all say nice things about each other now.
Or
Nobody
it's
wants
like
a
it's
game
like
that.
a dorm room.
Oh, yeah.
Like the RA like first day.
Yeah.
Let's meet everybody in the dorm room.
And the
Let's
next thing
throw a ball around and say
Yeah.
one thing about yourself.
And now you're playing virtual spin the bottle, and it stops on you, and you're like, I gotta say something. You're like, Doug, you eat ass like a champ. Why did I say that out loud?
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a thing you survive through because you had to go to school that day or you had to go to the welcome thing that day, not
Yeah.
because you wanted to actually play a game that way.
Yeah. I did think that the idea of what if they, like, because there were suggestions about what they could do with it now that they've made it. It's like, so what if you just make it a pack-on with the expansion pack for NSO? And it's like, you could do that. I guess it would...
Or just like dribble out like one little game
Yeah.
like every couple months on
Yeah.
NSO. Just be like, here's a weird cool, like they did with the that like
the
skip
jump
rope,
rope.
the
Yeah,
jump
the
rope
jumper
thing.
challenge. It's
Like
like,
here's a weird little thing.
Yeah.
To have fun with it.
Give maybe out 3 of them at the same time and just be like, here's 3 little things you can do today if you want to goof around with some people for like 20 minutes. And it's like, I guess we
Yeah.
could do that, but...
I don't know. I feel like the thing that says that they're worried that this would actually hurt their reputation to put out suggests you don't even want to give it away for free.
But that also then, in this larger context, it's like, this is Nintendo doing the thing that they want to do, where it's like, above all else, do we think it's fun? And if they're coming away from this being like, we got so close to the edge, like we should have maybe just put it out to see who bought it. And it's like, if people don't think that it's fun, it's not even worth us taking the time to try to, like, even putting it out digitally, right? Where it's like, we don't have to print anything. It's like, it's not fun, we're not going to release it. We don't want anyone to associate
And,
a not fun thing with us.
I don't know who greenlit it, but if they greenlit it purely off the fact that 1-2 Switch did decently well, I hope they took into consideration that that was a launch title, and there were not that many launch titles when the Switch actually released.
Yeah. And granted, it's not in the same category as Breath of the Wild, but it was something else to try. You know, it was some other fun thing to do.
I feel like they might have been better off making DLC for the first one rather than trying to make a sequel.
Agreed.
But even then.
All right. Next story.
Anyway, there's the other this is just again random game announcement that I thought could be kind of silly or interesting. Currently called Project M by NCSoft, is a new project using the Unreal Engine 5, which, if you saw any stuff from the Summer Games Fest, is real pretty.
Okay.
Okay.
And this particular one is they released a trailer for it, and it's very cinematic.
Okay.
And they describe it as a cinematic production. And what I thought was sort of notable about this is the way this is described. It feels very much like a I don't think they're involved with it, but a David Cage-esque. I don't know, that style of thing where, because they're like
A moody kind of...
and also like,
is it better?
but gameplay wise, I mean, where it's like it's a very cinematic movie like game. NC has said in their news release that player choice and control can influence the story and the ending of the game, right?
Now, that's something people have said for decades about every game produced that's an adventure game.
Where but I mean, that's like the fact that you have to. It's like, yes, I would expect that player choice would influence what happens in the game. The fact that that's a feature might indicate that it's like,
That's what they're concentrating on.
or if it's like, it's just like the player. It's not the player plays the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's the player gets to choose which of these two cutscenes they go into.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's where it's more like the QuickTime event kind of thing, Heavy Rain or those kind of games.
And it seems like everything going on here is being done in Unreal Engine 5, so it also seems like none of this is going to be like a pre-rendered idea. It's going to be like, as you're playing it, these things are supposed to play out, but play out in ways that are being rendered like in real time on the system. It's not supposed to be like it's a bunch of cutscenes we hung together, like a Netflix, like that Carmen Sandiego thing on Netflix where you get to choose.
Netflix has a few things that
they're not going for that.
This is actually this will and to fair play to Unreal Engine 5 does look very, very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And
is it compelling in any way?
I mean
beyond
that
it looks nice.
I mean that's not Unreal Engine 5's problem.
Yes.
No, I meant the game that
but I don't know.
We're talking about.
The trailer features a story that centers around a husband potentially getting revenge on his wife's murderer. So that's like not the most original story you could think of. But good try anyway. Let's but it could be interesting. And that's the last story I have marked here. Although this was I don't know if I got any stories after the Summer Games Fest thing. Was there anything about the Summer Games Fest other than there's a lot of space horror games?
A lot of space horror. I liked the anime looking stuff because it looked like anime. I don't know if I'll actually like the game, but anime.
The Genshin train game.
The space train.
Yeah.
Star Train. I don't remember what it was called. There was a train in the title.
Something train.
Yeah, I don't.
I didn't see the Devolver event, but it was supposed to be. They often have cool stuff going on.
They apparently made fun of some sort of Animal Crossing and what was the other thing? I just saw this. Tom Clancy's Animal Crossing.
Nice.
I don't know what that means exactly because I haven't actually looked it up, but that apparently was a thing they did.
I find Devolver fascinating because they're a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
They're not a developer.
No.
And yet, a Devolver digital game has quite a recognizable aesthetic, which is interesting. Like, you wonder how much influence they have on that, or whether it's just that game that's weird and neon colored.
So
we'll just look for any games that are that.
A lot of indie publishers, especially who have kind of made themselves a brand. If you look at them, do typically court certain kinds of games because as a publisher, they are providing money and mentorship and help to make that game become a reality. So, in certain ways, it is. Devolver Digital is probably seeking out specific kinds of games that they think fall under what they want to promote. Annapurna is also known for certain types of stuff, right?
Yeah. Devolver was the publisher behind Heave-Ho, which we played on stream, which is that weird thing that Ian and Corey and you and I played, where you're a ball with two arms and you're moving each other around on the screen. And it's that's something about that game. I was like, this really makes sense for the things. That's how I picture Devolver's stuff.
Yeah, and you can tell in Devolver's marketing because every year that they do their own event, they try to do a very
all sorts of silly
make
things.
Fun of silly things, whatever kind of event, and that's their marketing angle. You have to remember that all these people are doing a marketing angle. It can be fun. You can enjoy it. You can want to buy the things from it, but they understand that is specifically what they're doing.
Devolver's definitely got their niche, and you know what? It's similar to some other ad campaign, say the Old Spice ad campaign or whatever, right? Where it's it's an ad campaign. It's meant for you to buy the thing.
Yeah.
But as a consumer, I am I am compelled or I feel good supporting that, not just because I think their products are good or whatever, but also just I would like for more companies to have entertaining ad campaigns.
Yeah. If I'm gonna have to sit through your ad, please ensure that I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's like I would like to express my approval of this ad campaign as opposed to, boring ass
Yeah, there is
shooters.
Jeff Keighley apparently has said that next year he wants to do Summer Games Fest as an in-person event, which I think is going to be.
Why?
Yeah, I mean,
Who
there's
fucking
that.
cares?
Because E3 has also said that next year, and I mean, E3 had to
Yeah.
say something because everyone was like, "Oh, they're not here this year; they're dead." They're supposed to be
Not
doing
dead
their
yet.
event
Yeah.
next year in person and digitally, and I'm like, okay, so are we just gonna watch Game Event Wars?
Yeah, I think we are.
Yes.
Actually, I think you kind of nailed it. Like, that's what's going to happen. Is that through, I think, his group of people, I'm sure he's not trying to organize this all by himself, but I'm sure that whatever his group is that's trying to organize this thing has been thinking everyone bitches about E3 year on year on year. Oh, good, the pandemic has happened. That will level the playing field. I mean, it's not like you say, oh, good, the pandemic has happened, but it's like, by the pandemic happening, this has leveled the playing field for showing off what's going on in gaming. That means that because we're all moving online, it's way cheaper for us to try to do a huge marketing push into that space. I can use the Game Awards as a means to also do that same kind of idea. And now, if we build this Summer Games Fest into a big enough brand and get that into people's minds that you want to be part of this, and people should watch this because all the people are coming to this, we're going to have a fight.
Yeah.
And I think that will be really interesting to see if there'll be exclusivity built into that. Because if I was a game company, I wouldn't want that. I'd have to go to both, and I don't want to do that either.
That's the thing. Like, I know he's doing an in-person thing today. That's like a small thing with creators that they have playing games and stuff. I know all about that. And I don't think he's actually said if he wants it to be on the level of E3 where E3 had people coming in or not. Just that he wants to do an in-person thing next year.
The power move would be to actually program it competing.
Yeah, counter-program it?
Counter-program it with E3. Be like, you could watch the E3 press conference or you could watch Summer Games Fest. You can't watch both.
I think it's still a terrible thing to watch two events try to duke it out, because I've been to the conventions that get too close to each other or just anime-wise or are on the same weekend, and vendors hate it.
Yeah.
And I imagine journalists are not going to be super happy if they have too many events that they have to do, because E3 is already a very intensive thing.
Yeah.
No matter what you do.
And nobody wants coverage from grumpy journalists.
The people who have announcements to make have to choose between which one to be at or just do their own thing.
Yeah.
Again, because you only have so many things to announce at a certain time. I like both things cannot really exist in the same time period.
And
as the same thing.
I remember when running an Anime Con that we had this issue of, so when are we gonna, we know when we're gonna put our thing.
Jeff Keighley stole all your stuff.
Well, no. So in Edmonton we had Animathon going, and in Calgary they started up Otafest, and there was this thing of we were always on a certain weekend, but sometimes we had to move because of what was going on at the college that we were renting to actually put the thing on at. And then Otafest is trying to program their thing at the same time, and there's this idea of, okay, so when is this going to happen, and how's it going to happen? And there's this thing of, well, the vendors that they get in Calgary are the same vendors that we want to also attract in Edmonton, and vice versa, because the vendors in Edmonton want to go to Calgary to sell their stuff too, right? You want to push as much of your shit as you can. And if that's the case, then you're like, well, why don't you just do it? You guys do it weekend A, and then the next weekend on weekend B, the other guys can do their thing. And all the vendors are like, no, that's also terrible, because I have to come to your event and sell stuff. And if I sell all the good stuff there and I go to the next event,
You're not going to sell anything.
I'm not going to sell anything because all the good stuff is gone, right? People aren't going to want to bundle up.
There
whatever.
won't be time to restock.
And you have no time to restock.
Yeah.
And then the event 2 hates it because they're like, we're the also ran. We're the one that everyone goes to the first event and they buy all their shit, and then they don't want to go to the second event because they don't have any money left to buy anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and even if E3 wasn't, hadn't sort of not been able to do stuff for the last year or two. Like the idea of that, since the companies have gotten more comfortable with remote presentations and consumers have gotten more comfortable, there's this idea of like, is E3 necessary? Which
depends on your viewpoint.
And
right.
Also, what if E3?
But or is the traditional view of E3 as in like the big press conferences plus the sort of live aspect to it, is that necessary?
Because if I was looking at this, if I was E3 looking down the barrel of this, I'd be like, okay, are we big enough that we can crush Summer Games Fest and no one's interested? Or do we roll this back, make a smaller event, make it press only like it used to be? Do not open to the public at all. Make it a press only event, and that way all the hacks, right? They're like, I hate going to E3 when I have to stand in line or make appointments and do all this other shit. If I can go to E3 when there's much less people and it's an isolated event and it's for the industry only, that's great, because that means that I have more time to spend playing more games and writing more articles and getting stuff out there. Whereas if Jeff's thing is like, I'm going to make it a big public event so that everyone can come and participate and see what the stuff's going on, it's like, that might be a way that E3 navigates this water.
There's been, because I've heard other people who used to go to E3 regularly talk, because it's that time of year, so all my podcasts are talking about it right now. And the suggestion that I often hear is there's another gaming convention, might be Gamescom, I'm not really sure which one it is, where the first couple of days are press only.
Right.
And then after that, they let the public in. And I feel like maybe that is the better mix for E3, because then you do let your press get all your stuff in. You have industry people getting to do their own stuff, and then you can have the people who can't wait to touch a controller show up. When we go to PAX, like, playing the games is really neat. Seeing crowds go around TVs is really neat. But ultimately, I don't feel the necessity of like, man, I hope I get to touch that controller, because we live in a world of demos and a lot of other ways for me to try games that don't mean I've touched a controller that several thousand other people have touched.
How about this? E3, live in-person event in big theater. Then in the lobby of the theater, Jeff Keighley live streams with a megaphone announcing game stuff before it gets announced in the theater.
That's great.
Loud enough that people in the theater can hear it.
Yeah, I like that. What a great idea. Whether Nintendo. This year, we don't know anything. They're not in Summer Games Fest. They haven't announced their own thing.
Yeah, I mean, speculation I've been reading says either next week or the week after. But a lot of people think definitely June.
But you're not gonna, because we talked last night and I was like, July? And you were like, no.
I don't want it to be in July. I want it to be next week. Heather is hoping for next week. Heather would like her kick of video game news that she likes, and everything else has been awful.
HeatherCon. That's what we need.
Except for Stray. Stray is wonderful.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Kitty with a backpack.
They didn't even
is good.
They didn't even show off Stray at Summer Games Con.
They showed that off at the State of Play.
Games Fest.
Which I also had to... No, you know what gets me? Summer Game Fest showed the same trailer for, like, the Callisto whatever thing, but their big brag to fame there was, like, we have the gorier version of the thing, and I'm like, I already sat through this gore. Why do I have to sit through more of it?
I mean, I guess I was thinking, like what if they did something where there was just like a big list of all in my brain just now, I was like, what if they just did a thing that was like a big list of all the trailers, and then you get to decide which are the trailers thing. And then I was like, wait, that's just a playlist on YouTube. So that's not actually like an event. That's just like, here's a link to all the trailers, which they have already.
They should tell us what all the trailers are, but instead of actually giving us the names, give us weird, cryptic descriptions of all the names, so that everyone spends, like, so much time trying to figure out what is in the thing.
Ooh, yeah.
Instead of when is the thing.
Anyway,
I'm hoping next week, to be honest.
we'll see. We'll see what we're talking about next week.
Yeah, next chill point, you can find out if I'm disappointed or not.
There's because there are a bunch of events that are going on. The Bethesda event is going on Sunday.
Nah.
I think there's some stuff going on Monday as well that have already been confirmed.
There's a Capcom thing, which I'm not going to watch, but I'm going to wait for somebody to tell me that Ace Attorney 7 exists.
7? I didn't realize they're up to 7 already.
Yeah.
And that's with a bunch of spin-offs too.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if Silk Song actually happens anywhere, I doubt it. Lies.
Silk Song is like announced during the Bethesda conference just to mess with you.
What? Only for Switch, and be like, that was weird.
It's like it's announced, and it's gonna be a Xbox exclusive.
I enjoy video game hype. I enjoy video game marketing. I would like to have the stuff that I like show up. The end.
Exactly. Yeah.
If it doesn't happen, I'll just be sad for an hour somewhere, on top of the other sadness I have for other reasons.
For anyone who's wondering, Team Cherry has actually said, "Yeah, we're still working on it."
Their last tweet said
A recent tweet.
There was a recent thing where they said, "We also hope it's coming out soon," and I saw people interpret that as, "Oh, so it must be coming out soon," and I'm like, really? That says to me they have no idea.
Yeah,
it's taking.
Or wasn't
the
other one they tweeted was like, it's like, wow, that thing's got to be coming out soon, right? Or something like that. Like they've definitely been doing a few some heavy duty teasing.
No, they actually haven't been, because if they've been actually talking more, people would be happier about it. Yeah, if it's on Game Pass, I'm just gonna end up waiting for it to hit Nintendo Switch.
All right. Let's call it there and talk about what's coming up in a little while, as in hour and a half.
Okay.
All right.
And then also what's coming up later on in the year, week, also year.
Technically, this is later in the year.
Later in the week will also be later in the year. Those are two measures of time. Coming up tonight, Friday Night Paper Fight. It will be the Commander Legends Baldur's Gate draft. If you saw the sweet pre-recorded games that we put up yesterday, or that we streamed yesterday, and then they're up on our YouTube channel now. They were super fun with Shivam and Alias V. But this will be us doing that live with doing a four-person draft. So four-person draft directly into a four-person game, which is technically not necessarily how you're supposed to do it, but it does say that there's no wrong way to play it.
Yeah, so you're really going to prove it.
Really thought we'd give it a shot.
Or find out that that's not true.
And then, it's like, Watsy, you lied. You lied. There was a wrong way.
Just like then, this game.
Tomorrow night, speaking of...
No, tonight.
Tonight. Speaking of Project M's, Metroid Other M that Beej is playing on Play It Forward. How is...
Rated out of 10
good,
right now.
6.
Best Metroid or greatest Metroid?
Wow.
Wow. I'll let you know. I've seen one Metroid so far, and it was in a cutscene.
Well, that's faster than I've seen Metroids in other games.
That's true. Metroids actually show up surprisingly little in the game Metroid.
Right? The reason for that is because Metroid was supposed to refer to Samus in the beginning. It was supposed to refer to the robot walking around shooting things. Metal android.
Yeah.
And then somebody was like, so what is a Metroid exactly? Is it one of those like enemies in the game? And somebody's like, I like that better. Yeah, let's do that. And
I've heard that I've also heard that Bounty Hunter and Space Pirate are both a result of poor understanding of translations.
Yeah, because the idea of like Han Solo being a bounty hunter or whatever, but he's a space adventurer in Star Wars, and that's what kind of apparently made that stick for people. And these are all the stories that I've heard, and I'm like, I hate that this shit exists, but I also hate that they didn't just roll with that. But
Also, Han Solo wasn't a bounty hunter.
no, he wasn't.
He was hunted
For
by bounty hunters.
Exactly.
He killed a bounty hunter.
Samus should have been a smuggler who could do the Kessel
that
run in
would've
8
been
parsecs. You know, like,
But yeah, okay.
is it any good? No.
No.
It's
Are you-
Have you been
playing it.
have you been enjoying streaming it? Because that's different than it being a good game.
Well, I have found it frustrating in multiple ways. And there are things that I really like about what they did, because I like that they tried, like, that Team Ninja. I'm going to keep putting it at their feet, right? And everyone keeps saying, well, there was a lot of Nintendo interference. And I'm kind of like, I don't give a shit if there's interference or not. Like, the game, ultimately, if it's like, they were making it, I'm like, well, they put their goddamn name on it too, so I'm going to put it at their feet as well. This wasn't probably like a thing where they were, like, co-developing it with, like, we have half a team for Nintendo. If they did, boy, that was a mess up. But I do like that they tried some new things, but I think that Prime did so many of these things way better. And I think that that's what they should... I mean, I get why they were going to do it this way, but I'm like, you can't even shoot your missiles in, like, walking around mode. You have to go to the... You have to wave your Wii at the screen in order to shoot missiles. And you can only shoot them at approved targets for missiles.
One thing I've heard is that it's like, it's neat in Other M that that Samus and other people have the idea of giving them more characterization. Mm-hmm. It's a shame that it's terrible characterization, but the concept, the premise of giving them characterization is not wrong.
Yes.
But the characterization that they gave was indeed wrong.
Yeah.
I will tell you, as someone who's in the same house while somebody else is streaming this, I can tell exactly when Beach is done streaming and not playing it anymore, because he starts talking and you can hear him enjoying himself more, and it's just like, oh, he's talking about Zelda now. He's
Yeah,
not
the
even,
stream is over.
So-
he's done.
So yeah, if you want to hear more of
You want to watch Beach yell at a screen a lot.
Beach angrily complaining about Metroid Other M while ostensibly playing the game.
By which he chose to play this game himself. I will point out, I suggested 3 other games he could have played that were not this one.
Oh, I know.
And so but I need to squash people who think I'm forcing you to play this.
No.
He chose this punishment
I
on
sure
his
did.
own. This is all of his choices. And he will eat all of this punishment because he chose it.
I need to save this image that I just remembered I should look up and use it as part of the. Oh, cool! It did that. My phone did that thing again. Anyway, I have to look up a meme to share tonight as my going live image.
Le Mans is tomorrow.
Yes, starting at 7 a.m. And going until 7 a.m., which means it's either very, very short or very, very long. Guess which one.
Very long.
Ian is going to be driving the Le Mans in Assetto Corsa. I believe he has selected a car that is as close as possible within the game to Gandalf, his car from Road Quest, and should be a lot of fun. I believe other people may come by to help him drive at various points. Hopefully they will. We'll see how that goes. Wait, no, Sabine, not Gandalf. I apologize.
Yes. I mean, I've seen in previous iterations he's made like desert buses and things to
Right, yeah, I
race
think the Desert
around
Bus
and-
buses are going to show
and
up
stuff.
again.
It's there's some very interesting stuff that happens in that 24-hour period. And if you can't watch it on Twitch, eventually it'll show up on the YouTube. And I say eventually because it's a 24-hour stream, so you have to give me extra time on that one.
Yeah.
Also, you can't stop me from taking extra time on things, so you're just gonna have to give me extra time on that one.
And then on Sunday, no Rhythm Cafe for obvious reasons.
Ian will be asleep.
And I get the day off. I don't. I do other work.
But on Sunday night, it'll be a sister card with Wheeler playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. And then on Monday, Kent Draw Horses Club, Corey and friends drawing things. And Crossing the Streams, where I believe it's going to be some gang beasts.
Ah, yes.
Ooh, it's been a while since we've done a Gangy Beasts.
Yeah.
Robot arms.
So, yeah, lots of cool stuff coming up. loadingreadyrun.com/live is the place to go to see the full schedule, except for Bija's streams, because the schedule currently cuts off at 9 p.m.
It's funny that everybody was like, "This is weird. Why is he streaming and not letting anyone know?" And it's like,
I guess I could extend
yes.
it to 10 p.m. I probably should. I apologize.
That's okay. It's not
I
like we
didn't-
normally stream this late.
I didn't
I
expect.
feel like that's
I was like, I don't need to. I'll make it to 9 so
It's-
that it saves space on the page.
It is in the Google Calendar, so if you go to lur.cc/schedule, I believe it gives you a Google Calendar link you can add to your phones or your computer, and you'll just always have it
Is that
living on your phone to let you know when we are doing things.
Never heard that address. Is that lr.cc/schedule?
Hey mods, can you post that bang command in chat and we can see it scroll by?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
yeah,
what
yeah.
it is, but I think it's bang schedule. I'm not sure.
I think that's right.
I've
Yeah.
just never. It's not part of the litany of addresses I have to like
For example,
throw off.
Patreon.com/loadingreadyrun is a great way to support what we do here because it is money that goes into our pockets.
Store.loadingreadyrun.com. You can buy things. YouTube.com/loadingreadyrun. You can be a member there and ask questions on the Askler. Or you could also pay for super thanks comments if you really want, because I turned that on.
And
It's a thing.
let's thank people who subscribed during the stream, of which there's only a couple, but that's okay. Kasinoki was gifted by an anonymous gifter.
Rubik Dark Will for 58 months. Welcome back.
Diamond MX 54 months. One for each of us. Yes.
Yay!
I like it.
That is simple.
Oh, Lurbot is not responding right now.
More of you may have subscribed, and your names are not there.
As far as I know, that is the current thing for subscribers. But anyway, thanks
I
everybody
love
for
all the invisible subscribers.
thanks everybody for watching. We will talk to all y'all later.
Bye.
I guess if Lurbot is dead, that may be part of the reason why subscribers haven't shown up.
That
Yeah.
could be why.
That's what we were.
Do you want to open the notification screen and just read everybody else's stuff?
If,
Well, that's also
it's part of
Lurbot.
Lurbot.
It wouldn't have grabbed anybody
that
else's?
won't help.
Theoretically, we could. There's somewhere to see it in here, but I don't know where. Anyway,
I've never made it work.
thank everyone who subscribed. You're awesome. Even if we didn't thank you right now, we'll catch you next month, I'm sure.
Bye.
Bye.